How y'all doing? My name is Daniel. You can look at my other blogs if you want to get my military history about my 2 deployments to Iraq and why I do the blogs now. Short history, I joined the Army 2 weeks after I turned 17, well 3 weeks after I turned 17. I had my boots on the ground in Baghdad less than 3 weeks after my 18th birthday, and right now I'm trying to figure out if I was actually the youngest soldier to serve in the Iraq-Afghanistan conflict, because you have to be at least 18 in order to serve in a combat zone. So if someone does have me beat, they only can have me beat by about 15 days, 2 weeks. So right now I've tried to contact CNN and essentially every local and national news station trying to get their help to confirm whether or not I was the youngest soldier, as well as contacting the Kentucky and Tennessee representatives, as well as California, where I'm from, trying to contact the representatives there, Dianne Feinstein, and so forth. And so far, I have got 0 callbacks and 0 responses from my emails. You would think that a soldier who served 2 tours to Iraq and is very likely the youngest one to have served, I'm a Purple Heart awardee, they would want to help that soldier confirm, for my own knowledge, as well as, I mean, if I was a Tennessee or Kentucky representative, I would think that would be something to brag about. Someone in my state was the youngest one to go and fight for the country during this conflict. But no help, no callbacks, and I've been trying to do this for 3 or 4 months. So if anyone out there listening to this blog can either confirm or help me confirm or deny if someone was in Iraq before 16 days after their 18th birthday, or some way that they think they can go about helping with that, I would really appreciate their emails. My email is therealdeal@yahoo.com, or you can just, therealdeal9325@yahoo.com. And if you could email me or leave a comment on here about how I would go about doing that, because I really don't know, and I'm not getting any help from any of the news organizations or any of my representatives. So today I want to talk about, are we still a free country? Now, let's think about that. I believe I'm going to start out with our vote. Are we still a free country? Our vote. We're living in a nation that's supposed to have separation of church and state, yet quite literally every single Christian religion we have a national holiday for, yet we don't have a national holiday to vote. So unless you can afford to take a day off of work, can afford on that day off of work, if your kids aren't in school for one reason or another, you can get babysitters, or if your kids are too young to be in school, if you can get a babysitter for that, and all the hoops you would have to jump through in order to get that 8 to 16 hours off to go and vote, which I think they do on purpose. It's not a national holiday, because if it was a national holiday, you would have much more minorities going out there to vote than are currently doing so. So, are we a free country? Well, let's go back to 2004. In 2004, our Congress, this includes Democrats, knew that our government was and they purposely withheld information, because let's talk about the domestic spying. The Democrats approved that before 2004. So the reason that our government did not inform us before the 2004 vote that they had authorized unwarranted and unconstitutional wiretapping of U.S. citizens is because Democrats and Republicans alike did not want to basically get booted out of office. We would have voted them out, I believe, in 2004 if we would have known how many people, if we would have known that our government was torturing people, if we would have known that our government was stop-lossing tens of thousands of soldiers who had already served in Iraq and Afghanistan, if we would have known that our government had approved unwarranted wiretapping of virtually every single American. Now there's some speculation, well, there's really no speculation. People that actually do the research know that they have not only been monitoring the phone calls and emails and everything along those lines that were going outside the country. They were doing dragnet surveillance of all domestic emails, all domestic calls, and everything of that nature. They were doing dragnet surveillance and all that. So, no, we don't live in a free country as far as we are having important information which would affect millions of Americans' votes, whether it be for a Democrat wanting to vote a Democrat out of office, or a Republican or independent. They purposely are withholding, our Congress is withholding information that would change people's votes. So that alone in itself means it's not a free country. If the government is withholding vital information that A, is the reason they were withholding it as supposedly for national security is complete bullshit. We knew after the 2004 elections, we knew they just wouldn't confirm it that it was happening. So if they could have told us literally within a year after the 2004 elections or leaked this information, they could have told us before. But the only reason they didn't is because they didn't want to get voted out of office. So no, we don't live in a free country as far as our vote goes. So as far as that, now as far as an all-volunteer military, as of March 2009, we had more than 120,000 soldiers military-wide who were stop-lossed. These are soldiers, some of them who have done 2, like myself, 3, 4, and some have even done 5. So these are people who have been in the various branches of the military, mostly Army. Out of more than 75% of soldiers stop-loss were Army. So out of the Army, these are soldiers who had already gone to combat, completed their contract. Some of them were higher ranking staff sergeants and sergeant first classes who had served 12 to 14 years in the military and just said, fuck it, I can't even do the last 6 or 7 years to retire. I can't take it anymore. And they stop-lossed them. They forced them with no extra pay and to get deployed again. And a lot of those soldiers who were getting out because they couldn't take it mentally. They were breaking up mentally. So those soldiers who had already completed their contract and had served honorably had their contracts broken and were forced to serve in the military. So we are no longer an all-volunteer army, an all-volunteer military. So we have our government withholding information that would affect our vote. So we are no longer voting freely. We have no longer have an all-volunteer army. One out of every 30 Americans are controlled by the penal system. So you got to think about that, man. That is a crazy number. 1 out of every 30, and it's rising. And unfortunately, I could not find any statistics on the rate it was rising at. And if someone again can leave a comment or my email about where I could find those statistics, as in, like, let's say 1 out of every 100 in 1980 were controlled by the penal system. And this means not necessarily in prison. This is talking about probation, unsupervised probation, and all those type of things. And is justice really blind? Is it? We have a president and a vice president whose only oath on the day they entered office was to protect and defend the Constitution. Not to protect and defend America, not to no other thing. I think that people don't really understand how crucial that thing is. The only oath the president has to take, that he swears to America and he swears to God, is that he will protect and defend the Constitution. Bush, and I am quoting him when I say this, the Constitution is just a goddamn piece of paper. Bush said that. Type it into Google. Type Bush quote. The Constitution is just a goddamn piece of paper. This is the man who swore to uphold and defend it, is turning around and saying the Constitution is a goddamn piece of paper. Look, I grew up in foster care since I was 5. All right, I had no family. I had less of a reason than just about anyone to serve my country, and I went and did it. And I didn't do it for my family, honestly, and I sure as fuck didn't do it for my government. I went and fought for my country, for America. I went and fought because America asked me to, and I went and fought for the Constitution. I went and fought because millions of Americans before me, of every race, of every creed, of every religion, went, fought, and died, and got maimed, and lost their sanity, sacrificed all that for that goddamn piece of paper. Bush, mind you, who fucking cowered during the Vietnam War, and Cheney, who had 5 deferments. 5 times his government sent him draft orders saying, we need you to serve. He said, no, my life is worth 5 other people. He sent if you're my age, 23, he sent your dad. He sent your dad to go die. 5 of your dads to go die in my place. Or, sorry, in his place. He thought his life was worth 5. And the thing that cracks me up about people who got deferments and cowered, which is a large portion of our politicians, cowered during the Vietnam War, is I would think if they got deferments and were AWOL like Bush during the Vietnam War, that they not only wouldn't seek public office, but I would think that they would feel some kind of moral... I'm going to continue this on my next blog, but think about what I've said.